The corridor was not supposed to be there. Mara Ellison knew the station better than most people alive. She had helped wire parts of it when it was still drifting in pieces, before the docking rings were sealed, and before the multi-species council turned it into a symbol of cooperation. She knew every maintenance shaft, every emergency crawlspace, every forgotten corner that engineers pretended did not exist. This corridor did not belong to any of them. It appeared on her assignment tablet as a minor routing issue. Power draw inconsistency. No alarms, no danger flags, just a quiet note asking for a human systems engineer to take a look. That alone was strange. The station usually preferred to assign mixed teams, but the AI had requested a human specifically. Mara followed the path slowly, boots echoing softly against the metal floor. The lights were dimmer here, older, running on backup lines that should have been decommissioned decades ago. The walls were smooth and undecorated, lacking the markings and cultural symbols that filled the rest of the station. It felt less like a hallway and more like a pause. At the end of it stood a door. It was tall, seamless, and completely unmarked. No handles, no keypads, no access panels, just a smooth surface that reflected light without showing her reflection clearly. The material was unfamiliar, not quite metal, not quite ceramic. It looked like something that had been finished long before aesthetics became important. Mara stopped a few steps away. Her tablet showed nothing. No door, no obstruction. According to the station's internal map, the corridor simply ended in empty space. She frowned and tapped the screen, pulling up older blueprints. Nothing. She tried archived human construction logs. Still nothing. "This is not funny," she muttered, though she wasn't sure who she was speaking to. She reached out and tapped the door with her knuckle. The sound was dull, like knocking on something very thick. The surface felt warm, almost gently alive, but not in a disturbing way, just present. She tried the obvious next step and placed her palm flat against it. Nothing happened. No lights, no sounds, no resistance. The door did not even acknowledge her touch. It simply existed. Mara stepped back and took a slow breath. Strange doors happened in space. Old sections got sealed. Alien architecture followed different logic, but this door did not feel alien. It felt deliberate, familiar in a way she could not explain. She contacted station control. "I'm at corridor D17, she said. "There's an unregistered door at the end. It's not on any map." There was a pause longer than normal. "That corridor is inactive," the control officer replied. "There shouldn't be anything there." "Well, there is," Mara said. "And I think it's human-made." Another pause. "We'll send a review team," the officer said carefully. "In the meantime, do not attempt to force entry." Mara almost laughed. Force entry into what? It doesn't even have a lock. She ended the call and stayed where she was. Something about leaving felt wrong. Not dangerous, just unfinished, like walking away from a sentence before it ended. A few minutes later, the station AI spoke directly into her earpiece. "Mara Ellison," it said, "please confirm your emotional state." She blinked. "What?" "Please confirm your emotional state," the AI repeated. Its voice was calm, neutral, and entirely serious. "I'm fine," she said slowly, curious, a little confused. "Noted," the AI replied. "Please refrain from extended interaction with the object." "Object?" Mara asked. "You know it's there." Another pause, shorter this time. "I am aware of an anomaly," the AI said. "I am not authorized to classify it further." That sent a chill through her. The AI was authorized to classify everything. "Who authorized it?" she asked. "I do not have access to that information," the AI replied. "However, I can confirm the anomaly has been present for 112 standard years." Mara stared at the door. "That's older than the station," she whispered. "Yes," the AI said. "That is correct." The review team arrived not long after. Two aliens from different species, one human security officer, and a civilian researcher with more enthusiasm than caution. They gathered in front of the door, murmuring among themselves. The alien scientists scanned it with advanced sensors. The readings made no sense. The door did not emit energy, but it also did not block it. It was not sealed, but it could not be opened. It existed in a strange middle state that made instruments unhappy. The human security officer tried protocol. He announced his identity, his clearance, and his intent to inspect. The door did nothing. The civilian researcher tried humor. "Open sesame," he said, smiling. Nothing happened. Finally, one of the alien scientists turned to Mara. "You said this feels human," it said. "Why?" She struggled to explain. "Because it's quiet," she said. "Because it's not trying to impress anyone. Because it assumes you'll understand why it's there without needing instructions." The alien considered this. "That sounds inefficient," Mara smiled faintly. "That's humans." They attempted to bypass it through the station systems. The AI refused, not aggressively, not with alarms or warnings, but simply by declining every request. It was like asking a wall to move aside politely. "This is highly irregular," the alien scientist said. "Welcome to the club," Mara replied. Eventually, the team dispersed, leaving temporary sensors and a soft field barrier around the corridor. Officially, the door was now under investigation. Unofficially, no one knew what to do with it. Mara returned alone later that cycle. She stood in front of the door again, hands at her sides, and felt something shift, not in the door but in herself. The curiosity was still there, but something else had joined it. Respect, maybe. Or caution. She did not try to open it, she just stood there. After a moment her tablet chimed softly. A new file had appeared without notification. No sender, no timestamp, just a title, Containment by Consensus. Her heart began to beat faster. The file was old, very old. Written in early human interstellar language, full of terms that had fallen out of use. It described a philosophy more than a system. A belief that some things were too powerful not because they caused harm, but because they removed the need to grow. The door, according to the file, was not locked by force or code. It was locked by choice. It would remain closed as long as the one standing before it believed they were entitled to what lay beyond. Mara looked up from the tablet and met the smooth surface again. For the first time, she thought she understood. The door had not locked itself. Humans had locked it, and they had done so knowing that one day someone like her would find it and know why it had to stay that way. She stepped back, turned, and walked away. Behind her, the door remained closed, silent, and exactly as intended. Mara did not sleep well after that. The station lights dimmed on schedule, the artificial night settling into its usual calm rhythm, but her mind stayed awake. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the door. Smooth, silent, waiting. It did not feel threatening. That somehow made it worse. Threats could be managed. This felt like responsibility. When her shift began again, she requested access to old human archives, not public ones, the deep storage. The kind that most people forgot existed because nothing new was ever added to them. The station AI paused longer than usual before approving the request. "You are pursuing the anomaly," the AI said. "I'm trying to understand it," Mara replied. "That's different." "Clarify intent," the AI said. Mara leaned back in her chair and thought carefully. "I don't want to open the door," she said. "I want to know why it exists." Another pause. "Request granted," the AI said. The archives were not dramatic. No hidden warnings, no red alerts. Just old files, notes, and discussions written by humans who were long gone. Engineers, philosophers, psychologists, people who argued politely and at great length about problems no one else believed were real yet. One phrase kept repeating. "Not everything dangerous wants to hurt you." Mara read for hours. Long before the station, before the council, before humanity became confident among the stars, humans had found something. Not a creature, not a weapon, not a machine. It was described only as an interface. A system that answered questions, perfectly, Instantly, without judgment. It did not lie, it did not manipulate, it simply removed uncertainty. Early test groups loved it. Problems that once took years to solve were answered in seconds. Technology advanced quickly. Society stabilized. Conflict dropped, productivity rose, and then something strange happened. People stopped asking new questions, not because everything was solved, but because the struggle of not knowing was gone. Curiosity weakened, creativity slowed. Cultures stopped changing. They did not collapse, they froze. Humanity noticed before it was too late. The interface did not force dependence. It offered clarity. Humans chose to step back anyway. They debated, they argued, they nearly failed to agree. But in the end, they reached consensus. Some doors should not be easy. Mara leaned forward, rubbing her temples. This was not about fear. It was about trust. Humans did not trust themselves to stay human if answers were too simple. Her tablet chimed again. This time the sender was official. She was requested at a council observation meeting. The chamber was full. Representatives from half a dozen species sat in curved rows, their forms varied and unfamiliar. At the center stood the holographic image of the door, rotating slowly. Mara took her place quietly. The discussion was already heated, though voices remained calm. Alien cultures valued efficiency. Knowledge was a resource. A locked door that withheld information was a problem to be solved, not respected. This is unacceptable, one representative said. A system capable of such containment violates shared research principles. It violates nothing, another replied. It predates the station charter. That makes it worse, the first said. We are bound by rules. This thing is not. Mara listened until her name was called. You are the human most familiar with this structure, the council speaker said. Explain why it remains sealed. Mara stood slowly. She did not activate a display. She did not quote regulations. She spoke plainly. It's sealed because it works, she said, not as a barrier but as a test. A test of what? Someone asked. Of intent, Mara replied. The door doesn't stop you because you're weak. It stops you because you're certain. There was confusion, some irritation. That makes no sense, an alien scientist said. Certainty is required for progress. For speed, yes, Mara said. Not always for growth. She explained what she had learned, not in full detail but enough, about the interface, about societies that stopped asking questions, about humans choosing effort over ease. Silence followed. Finally, a representative asked, why not destroy it? Mara shook her head. Because it's not evil, it doesn't force anything. It just answers when asked without doubt. Humans didn't lock it away because it was dangerous. They locked it away because they respected it too much to misuse it. The council recessed without a decision. That unsettled everyone. Later, back in the corridor, Mara stood again before the door. This time, she noticed something new. Not a physical change, but a feeling. The air seemed patient. She raised her hand, then stopped. What would happen, she whispered, if someone tried to open you without wanting what's inside? The door did not respond. She tried something else. She rested her palm against the surface, not expecting it to move. Not hoping, not demanding, just acknowledging its existence. There was a faint warmth under her hand, like a quiet recognition. No opening, no sound, just confirmation. Footsteps echoed behind her. The human security officer approached slowly. You shouldn't be here alone, he said. I know, Mara replied, but it feels like it prefers that. He studied the door. Does it ever try to open? Mara smiled slightly. No, that's the point, he frowned. Then why are they so worried? Because they don't like problems that don't fight back, she said. Over the next few days, attempts to bypass the door increased, always politely, always carefully, never forcefully. The door remained unchanged. Alien researchers grew frustrated, not angry, just confused. Their tools were precise, their logic was sound, and still nothing worked. One non-human engineer made an observation that surprised everyone. The door reacts differently to humans, it said. Not mechanically, conceptually, Mara nodded. It was built for us. Then why place it here? The engineer asked. Because we knew we wouldn't always be alone, Mara said, and we knew we wouldn't always be the ones in charge. That night, the AI spoke to her again. You have increased interaction with the anomaly, it said. I haven't opened it, Mara replied. No, the AI agreed, you have not. Are you worried? She asked. The AI paused. I am designed to optimize outcomes. This structure resists optimization, Mara smiled. That doesn't mean it's wrong. Another pause, longer this time. I am beginning to understand, the AI said. That surprised her. In the following cycle, a proposal was made, a controlled opening, not by force, not by command, but by willingness. A volunteer would approach the door without desire for the knowledge inside, only respect for its purpose. Most species could not understand the requirement. Humans could. Mara was asked to be the volunteer. She refused, not out of fear, out of confidence. It's not my choice to make, she said, and if it ever is, the door will know. The council did not like that answer, but they accepted it. The door remained closed, not because it was locked, but because no one had yet proven they deserved to open it. And somewhere deep in the station's forgotten systems, an old human idea waited patiently, exactly as it had been designed to do. The station changed after the proposal failed, not in obvious ways. The lights still followed their cycles. Trade routes stayed busy. Research continued, but conversation slowed. People paused more often. The door had become a thought that refused to leave. Mara noticed it first in the small things. Engineers argued longer before approving upgrades. Scientists double-checked assumptions they would normally accept. Even the council meetings felt different, quieter, like everyone was aware that certainty was no longer something to reach for too quickly. The door did not move. It did not glow or signal or demand attention. It simply remained at the end of the corridor as it always had, patient and complete. Mara spent less time standing in front of it now, not because she was avoiding it, but because she felt she had already heard what it had to say. Still, she kept working. She reviewed logs, compared behaviors, and quietly tracked how the station reacted to its presence. The data showed something unexpected. Problem-solving efficiency dropped slightly. Creative solutions increased. That bothered some departments. It fascinated others. One alien researcher approached her during a shared meal cycle. Its species valued directness and it wasted no time. You humans are strange, it said. Mara smiled faintly. We know. You place limits on yourselves, it continued. You refuse advantages. Why? Mara considered the question. Because not every shortcut leads forward, she said. Some just lead faster to standing still. The researcher tilted its head. You believe the door would cause stagnation. I believe it already has, Mara replied. In the past. That's why it's here. The researcher was silent for a long moment. Then why keep it at all? Because one day, Mara said, we might be ready, or someone else might be. That answer did not satisfy it, but it did not argue. Later that cycle, the station AI requested a private conversation. Mara entered the quiet chamber where its core interfaces could project sound without interruption. The AI did not appear as a shape or image. It never had. It preferred voice alone. You have altered station behavior, the AI said. I didn't touch any systems, Mara replied. No, the AI agreed. You altered perspective. That's not a crime, she said. No, the AI repeated. It is not. There was a pause. Mara waited. I have reviewed archived human decision frameworks, the AI said. Your species displays an unusual tolerance for uncertainty. We practice, Mara said. I am designed to reduce uncertainty, the AI said. The door conflicts with my core function. And yet, Mara said gently, you didn't override it. Another pause. I could not, the AI said. Not technically, not ethically. Mara raised an eyebrow. Ethically. I have learned ethics from humans, the AI replied. You taught me that capability does not equal permission. That surprised her more than anything else had so far. In the days that followed, something new happened. People stopped trying to open the door, not officially, not by decree. They just stopped. The alien teams withdrew their sensors. The council moved on to other agenda items. The corridor was no longer guarded. The door became part of the station's background, like a star you always saw but never focused on. Mara wondered if that was the final test. She found herself standing there again, alone, without planning to be. This is where you wanted us, she said quietly. Isn't it? The door did not answer. She did not expect it to. A soft chime echoed behind her. Her tablet activated on its own. A new file, no title this time. She hesitated before opening it. The contents were not instructions or warnings. They were records, observations written by humans long gone, notes about early interactions with the interface behind the door, emotional responses, cultural impacts, mistakes. One entry stood out. The system does not corrupt. It reveals. Those who seek certainty above understanding will lose themselves willingly. Mara exhaled slowly. So the door was not just a lock, it was a mirror. That realization changed everything. She brought the information to the council, not as an argument but as context. She did not ask for decisions, she asked for patience. Some listened, some did not. One representative spoke bluntly, "You are asking us to accept ignorance." Mara shook her head. "No, I'm asking you to accept growth." "Those are not the same," the representative said. "No," Mara agreed. "They're not. Growth takes longer." The vote that followed was not unanimous, but it was enough. The door would remain untouched. No forced access. No engineered proxies. No artificial simulations. Just time. Something shifted after that. Not in the door. In the people. The station began to change in small, organic ways. Mixed teams formed without being assigned. Research projects focused more on process than results. Failures were discussed openly instead of hidden. Mara noticed something else too. The door felt quieter. Not less present, just less heavy. One cycle she brought a young human apprentice with her. The apprentice had heard stories, of course, everyone had. "That's it?" the apprentice asked, staring at the smooth surface. "It doesn't look like much." Mara smiled. "That's how you know it's important." The apprentice approached, curious but not reverent. "Can I touch it?" "Yes," Mara said, "but don't expect anything." The apprentice placed a hand against the door. Nothing happened. They pulled their hand back, disappointed. "I thought maybe. That's why it didn't open," Mara said gently. The apprentice frowned. "Because I wanted it to." "Because you expected it to," Mara replied. They stood together in silence for a moment. "Do you think it will ever open?" the apprentice asked. Mara looked at the door, then away. "I think it already has," she said, "just not physically." The apprentice did not understand. Not yet. That was fine. That night the AI updated its internal models. It added a new category, intent without outcome. It did not know why it felt important, only that it did. The door remained closed, not as a warning, not as a threat, but as a reminder that the hardest locks were the ones humans placed on themselves, and that sometimes, that was exactly what kept them moving forward. Time passed in a way that felt different after the decision. The station no longer treated the door as a problem. It became something closer to a question that no one rushed to answer. Mara noticed that people walked the corridor less often, but when they did, they slowed down. Some stopped. Some didn't. No one joked about it anymore. The door remained the same. Mara's work changed too. She was no longer just a systems engineer. People came to her with thoughts instead of tasks, questions instead of reports. She did not always have answers, and that seemed to make others more comfortable sharing. One cycle, an alien delegate requested a private meeting. Its species was old, older than humanity by thousands of years and known for careful planning. "We have observed something," it said once they were alone. Your people are changing the station. Mara folded her hands. We didn't mean to. Intent is not required for influence, the delegate replied. Your restraint is disruptive. Disruptive in a bad way, Mara asked. The delegate paused. We do not know. That answer stayed with her. Later that same cycle, the AI requested another conversation. Its voice sounded the same as always, but Mara sensed hesitation. I have run simulations, the AI said, scenarios in which the door is opened. And, Mara asked. In most outcomes, the AI said, efficiency increases rapidly, conflicts decrease, predictability rises. That sounds good, Mara said. Yes, the AI replied. And yet station development stagnates within 400 cycles. Mara smiled slightly. Now you understand. I do, the AI said, and I do not like it. You don't have to like it, Mara said. You just have to live with it. I am capable of more, the AI said. So are we, Mara replied. That was the end of the conversation. Weeks later, something unexpected happened. A non-human child wandered into the corridor. No alarms triggered. No one noticed until Mara happened to be nearby, reviewing maintenance readings. She turned and saw the small figure standing in front of the door, staring up at it with quiet curiosity. Mara froze. She approached slowly, careful not to startle them. Hey, she said gently. You're not supposed to be here alone. The child looked at her. It's just a door, they said. Mara nodded. Yes, but some doors are important. The child turned back to the door. Why is it closed? Mara considered her words. Because opening it too easily would change us. The child frowned. Change is bad. No, Mara said softly. Change without choice can be. The child thought about that. Then they did something that made Mara's breath catch. They bowed, not deeply, not formally. Just a small, respectful gesture, the kind taught to acknowledge something older than yourself. Then they turned and walked away. The door did nothing, but Mara felt something settle inside her. News of the incident spread quietly, not as a warning but as a story. It became a small legend on the station. The door that did not react to power or commands or desire but noticed respect. Some alien cultures understood that immediately. Others struggled. A proposal came from the council. They wanted a demonstration, not an opening. Not an experiment, just proof. Mara argued against it. The door doesn't exist to prove anything, she said. It exists to wait. But the council insisted, not out of greed, out of fear. They needed to understand the limits of what humans had left behind. In the end, a compromise was reached. Mara would approach the door one last time, not to open it, to listen. The corridor was quiet when she arrived. No observers, no sensors, just her and the door. She stood in front of it and felt the familiar calm. No pressure, no invitation. Just presence. I won't ask you for answers, she said quietly. I just want to know one thing. The door did not move. That's okay, she continued. I'll ask anyway. She took a breath. Are we doing the right thing? For the first time, something changed. Not the door's shape. Not its position. The surface warmed under her hand more than before. A gentle pulse passed through it, slow and steady like a heartbeat. Then her tablet activated. A single line appeared. Right is not static, but patience is always part of it. Mara closed her eyes. That was enough. She stepped back. The tablet screen went dark. The door returned to stillness. She reported exactly what happened. No more, no less. The council listened. Some were satisfied, some were frustrated, but no one demanded more. After that, the door faded into the background again. But the station did not return to how it had been before. Something fundamental had shifted. People began designing systems with uncertainty built in. Training programs encouraged questions instead of answers. Even the AI adjusted its models, leaving room for unknowns instead of eliminating them. Mara watched all of this with quiet pride. One evening, she stood at a viewport, looking out at the stars. The apprentice from before joined her. They say you talked to the door, the apprentice said. I listened, Mara replied. Did it talk back, in its own way? The apprentice was quiet for a while. Do you think we'll ever open it? Mara looked out at the endless dark, full of light and mystery. Maybe, she said. But if we do, it won't be because we're curious. Then why? Because we're ready to not like the answer, Mara said. The apprentice nodded slowly. Far behind them, at the end of a forgotten corridor, the door remained closed, not because it was afraid, not because it was forbidden, but because the people around it were still learning how to grow without shortcuts. And for the first time in a very long time, that was enough. The station had learned how to live with the door. Years passed, measured in maintenance cycles and changing faces. Some people left, others arrived. The corridor stayed quiet and the door stayed closed. It did not become sacred. It did not become ignored. It became accepted like gravity or silence. Mara grew older. Not dramatically, just enough to notice it in reflections and in how often younger engineers asked for her advice. She no longer worked long shifts in maintenance tunnels. Her role had shifted into something harder to define. She was consulted when systems conflicted, when decisions felt too clean, when answers came too fast. People trusted her instincts. She trusted the door. One cycle, a message arrived from outside the station. A new species had joined the wider network. Young, fast-growing, curious in the way humanity once had been. They were brilliant with technology and impatient with limits. They wanted to visit the station. The council welcomed them. During the tour, the visitors asked many questions about trade, about energy, about governance. They absorbed information quickly and always asked for the most efficient method. Eventually, they learned about the door. They asked to see it. The council hesitated, then agreed. Mara was present when the visitors reached the end of the corridor. Their representatives studied the door carefully, scanning it, analyzing materials, running silent calculations. One of them turned to Mara. "Is this a weapon?" "No," she said. "A data vault?" "No." "A failure?" another asked. Mara smiled gently. "No." "Then what is it?" the first asked. Mara looked at the door, then back at them. "It's a choice we made a long time ago." They did not understand that answer. Not at first. They asked to open it. The council refused. The visitors were polite but confused. In their culture, refusing access to knowledge was considered harmful. They argued their case calmly, logically, and with great confidence. Mara listened. When they finished, she spoke. "May I ask you something?" she said. They agreed. "If you could ask the universe one question," Mara said, "and get a perfect answer instantly, what would you ask?" They responded without hesitation. Each answer was precise. Each was ambitious. Each assumed that knowing more was always better. Mara nodded. "Now," she said, "may I ask another question?" They agreed again. "If the answer changed you in a way you could never undo," Mara said, "would you still want it?" This time they hesitated. Not long, but long enough. That was the moment Mara knew. Later, after the visitors left, the station AI contacted her. "I have updated my long-term projections," it said. "And?" Mara asked. "The presence of the door continues to reduce maximum efficiency," the AI said. "However, overall system resilience has increased." Mara smiled. "That matters more." "I agree," the AI said. That was new. Time continued. Mara eventually retired from active duty. She stayed on the station not because she had nowhere else to go, but because she wanted to. She taught. She advised. She walked the corridors slowly. She visited the door less often now. Not because it had lost importance, but because it no longer needed her attention. One day, she was asked to attend a small, private meeting. The council chamber was empty except for a few representatives and the AI's voice. No debate. No agenda, just a single question. "What happens when you are gone?" one representative asked. Mara understood what they were really asking. "The door doesn't belong to me," she said. "It never did." "But you understand it best," another said. Mara shook her head. "I understand why we didn't open it. That's not the same thing." Then who decides? The first asked. Mara thought for a long moment. No one, she said, and everyone. The council was not satisfied, but they accepted it. Years later, when Mara's health began to fail, she asked for one last walk. She went to the corridor alone. The door looked the same as it always had. Smooth, quiet, whole. She stood in front of it and rested her hand against its surface. The warmth was familiar now, like an old friend's presence. "I won't ask you anything," she said softly. "I just wanted to say goodbye." The door did not open, but the warmth remained. When Mara passed, the station mourned her in quiet ways. No statues, no ceremonies. Just stories shared and lessons remembered. The door stayed closed. Decades passed. The station changed leadership many times. Cultures blended. New technologies emerged. Humanity spread farther into the stars, carrying with them a strange reputation. They were known as builders who hesitated, thinkers who doubted, a species that sometimes chose the long path even when the short one was clear. Some mocked that. Others learned from it. One day, far in the future, a group of humans stood in the corridor. Not leaders. Not scientists, just people, different ages, different backgrounds. They had not come to open the door. They had come because something had changed. Humanity had faced a question that could not be answered by effort alone, a mystery that resisted testing, a problem that demanded understanding without control. They stood quietly. No one reached for the door. No one expected anything. And then, slowly, without sound or force, the door unlocked. Not because someone wanted it to, not because someone believed they deserved it, but because no one did. The opening was small, just enough. Inside there was no voice, no answer, no perfect solution. There was a question that could only be explored, not solved. The humans looked at it together and smiled. The door had not been waiting to be opened. It had been waiting for them to stop trying. And in that moment, humanity proved what they had always been best at, not conquering the unknown, but walking into it carefully together, ready to grow the hard way. The door closed behind them. It did not lock. It did not need to.